What's up, Arizona? You're watching 12 Sports Tonight. I'm Cameron Cox. We're going to catch up with the rest of the crew here in just a moment. Every week, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us on the 12 News 24/7 free streaming app, talking all things Arizona sports. As always, we're going to tell you the important stories, the ones that matter, and introduce you to people that inspire. This is 12 Sports Tonight, Arizona's OG and longest running sports show, streaming for you for free. Let's go.
Jake Garcia joins us now with our top sports story, and this guy had an amazing NFL career, especially that one season, but now, boy, is he dealing with a big blow.
That's right. And today, this was just devastating, heartbreaking, tragic news to hear. Chris Johnson, the former NFL running back, played for the Titans, played for the Cardinals. He revealed today on Good Morning America that he's been diagnosed with ALS. Of course, that's a neurodegenerative disease.
Lou Gehrig's disease.
Exactly. There is no cure for it. So, a lot of patients who are diagnosed with this sometimes get multiple years to live. Others get significantly less than that. And it just kind of depends on where this was all caught in the process of just kind of withering away at his spinal cord and central nervous system. Football fans know this guy as just an electrifying talent, someone who could make defenders miss really easily. But today, unfortunately, it was a very different side to this football player. Michael Strahan conducted this emotional interview, and Johnson spoke not with his voice, but through a machine that he directed with his eyes. And he said, the toughest part with all of this is that a year ago today, he was lifting up his daughter to have her blow out the candles for her 7th birthday party. He can't do that anymore. So just tragic and devastating, and words cannot describe what that family has been going through for the better part of a year now. Cardinals fans might remember Johnson for his 3 seasons with Arizona at the back end of his career. First year in 2015 with the organization, he looked rejuvenated, top 3 in the NFL in rushing yards for about half a season. But then, guys, he fractured his tibia in week 12, didn't play the rest of that year. The next 2 years, he only played about 4 games apiece. So his career was really never the same after that 2015 season. Still holds the all-time record for single-season scrimmage yards for a running back. You could sense the appreciation that he had in his voice when he spoke to reporters when he was here in Arizona. Kind of contemplated retirement when his time in Tennessee came to an end. But when he was with the Cardinals, he was so appreciative just to be here. He could tell that he had gotten a second chance, and we're going to play some old sound from him that showed that he really made the most of his time here.
I never imagined, even playing for another team or even playing here. I always imagined me being in Tennessee my whole career. I never imagined putting on another uniform, and I was just sitting back thinking and just feel crazy. It's been fun. It's just a blessing to be able to continue playing football, going from thinking you're not going to play no more, contemplating retirement, and just everything I went through. It's just a situation. I'd be happy just to go out on the field and play. Just had bitter towards getting cut, period. The type of player I am, and, being that it was unexpected and, didn't ever think that would happen. Of course, it was bitterness, but couldn't dwell on it. Just made sure I stay in shape and get ready for whatever opportunity I had coming towards me.
Johnson's final season in the NFL came in 2017, played in 4 games that year. Then he was released halfway through the season. As I mentioned, he still holds the all-time record for scrimmage yards for a running back in a season, just over 2,500 yards. Johnson said that through this interview today, the biggest thing he wants people to know is that, yes, his muscles are breaking down. This is muscle atrophy. And so you lose your ability to walk and essentially control your limbs. He said despite, the physical restraints that he's under now, he said he's still the same person inside, still has the same personality, and he wants his kids to know that, and the care system that his wife has on his behalf, I think sees that every day with him. I don't know if you guys have interacted much with people who have been diagnosed with ALS, but I've done a couple stories on people who are battling that disease, and the care that they need from others is so intense that a lot of times the caregivers, they're shouldering a lot of that burden.
And the family.
Exactly. And it is just so tragic to see someone's body kind of wither away over the course of a few months or a year.
Especially somebody who's in that kind of physical physical condition.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah, and
top 0.000% of human beings.
He was still working out. He was lifting weights. He was in incredible shape even after his NFL career. But now, because of this disease, it's a different story now.
Diamondbacks were quietly trying to go for the sweep over the Giants.
Yeah, and they actually were showing some of that match at Chase Field, and the reaction from the crowd was electric. The D-backs, meanwhile, they've had the Giants' number all season long, going for their third sweep of San Francisco since May, but the struggle continues for Zac Gallen, the former staff ace, cruising until the 5th inning. The wheels start to come off then, giving up 6 runs on 7 hits. Gallen has an ERA close to 8 in his last 12 starts, the highest among qualified pitchers in MLB. It was 6-0 Giants in the 8th when the D-backs find a way to score 4 runs. That rally was short-lived. The Giants get their first win over Arizona this year, 6-4 the final.
I was glad we made some noise late in the game. This team doesn't shut down. They want to win baseball games. And we took advantage of some miscues. We ended up putting 4 on the board. And I thought, we were going to have a real good chance at closing it up. And unfortunately, we couldn't. I know for you guys, a big target and a big part of this conversation is Zac Gallen. Zac was really good for the early parts of this game. I thought he was driving his fastball into the right parts of the zone. Started to create some swing and miss late in his outing, and maybe I was fooled by that a little bit. I gave him the opportunity to get out of that outing. I could have had Thompson ready for Ramos. I'm kicking myself for that, but there's parts of this game that we gotta improve upon, and I know Zac is continuing to work very, very hard. This game can be very unforgiving. It seems like he yanked a 2-seamer that resulted in the solo home run. He tried to throw a slider that didn't really have the shape that he wanted, and he paid for that. And that's just where he's at right now. And we're not going to quit on Zac. No coach is going to quit on him. I know that he's struggling, and he's going to continue to fight because that's his spirit, and we're going to coach him up the best way we know how. It's not working the way we want it to for him. I'll acknowledge that, but he can pay us unbelievable dividends if he gets on one of his Zac runs, and that's where I'll keep that. We had a couple guys down in the bullpen, so we went into a different part of our strategy. We had some guys step up where I know they were a little bit tired. Guys typically don't pitch in those roles, but they didn't care. They went out there. The back half of that game kept us in it, gave us a chance to find a way to get back into it. Unfortunately, we couldn't close it all the way up. Sometimes I get fooled by that. I saw the stuff was in the shape and the stuff was looking pretty good, and I wanted to get him through that 6th inning. I knew that we were a little short in the bullpen. I was adding things up, and I knew that we were down 3. And he gets one more out, we're having a different conversation. So if I do get a chance to talk to Zac, I'll make sure I cover that with him. But we're going to find a way to recharge. We got to. We're going to with him. We're going to keep coaching him. I think that's part of the game. We talk about this very topic a lot in spring training, that it's 1 or 2 plays that you make or you don't make, or 1 or 2 pitches that you make or don't make that are going to swing this baseball game. I hear these NFL coaches talk about that very topic all the time, but it's the same thing in baseball. So we coach in that space and talk about executing at the highest level when it's needed most. And yeah, I don't want to say Zac has bad luck. I could, but I'm not, because I know he doesn't want to say that either. He's got to find a way to get it done, and things aren't going great for him right now, and maybe a little hit here, a little hit there, but we create those opportunities.
First 4 innings, I think we'll give 1 hit. I feel like we were in pretty much control of the whole game. Was ahead all night. First pitch strikes. I'll have to look at the 2 or 3, but I feel like we were getting the 2 strikes pretty quickly. And then the 5th and 6th were pretty frustrating. I felt like from a location standpoint, I made 2, 3 location mistakes, and 2 of them ended up being home runs. So that's really frustrating. Just the 2-out walk to Devers isn't great, but still, I felt like for 90, how many pitches? I feel like I made 85 really good pitches. Just 5 to 10 of them just kind of hurt us there in the end. I think I had said a while back, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good in this game. I feel like right now I got I don't have neither side of the coin, so it's kind of frustrating. So, yeah, I mean, I felt like, anytime, made a mistake, the ball was, going for damage or, leaving the ballpark. So it's kind of frustrating when you're trying to limit runs and give your team a chance to win. It's frustrating, but I mean, we're gonna keep working at it and figure out what's the problem here, why these things are happening. Let's go back to the drawing board. The final line's kind of tough, especially where we put a rally together to score 4 runs. I felt like I could have left that game, 6th inning, given 3 runs, and this might be a different story. We're talking about a sweep gun in the off day.
Yeah, Kepler was there. He was available. No, I liked some of the matchups. The one I was thinking about was Del Castillo. I sold out to get Gabby in the lineup, and I knew that, Gabby's leg's a little banged up, and I've been getting after him pretty good, so I didn't know if I wanted to catch him for 3 innings and then start to tap in with burning my DH. So I would have done it late in the game, but in that point in time, that was the one move I was thinking about. But Kepler, no. You talking about maybe for like a Gurriel at bat? No, I didn't. Gurriel's he's rolling a little bit, and I want to continue doing everything I could to keep him on that roll.
Time now for a new series here on 12 Sports, The Ride. We are driving to work with some of your favorite athletes and coaches, and we start things off with a truck you've likely seen on the way to Chase Field.
Yeah, D-backs bench coach Jeff Bannister drives to work in the same truck he learned to drive in when he was growing up. 12 Sports' Cameron Cox was along for the ride.
I didn't want a show quality truck. I wanted one that I could drive every single day. It's 62 years old, and it's brand new underneath.
It doesn't ride like it's 62 years old.
Oh, she runs a little faster. She got a little voice to her.
Neighbors weren't awake.
Nah, they're awake now.
This is not a bad toy.
No, it's not a bad toy. This one's fun. It's been I've had it back since opening day. The garage that restored most of it had it for almost 3 years. 1964 F100. Custom cab, my birth year. It's fast now, though. It can.
It can move a little bit.
It can move a little
bit.
And it's got a little throat to it, so it lets you know it's coming. In this neighborhood, I got to kind of tone it down sometimes.
You can't be blasting this thing up and down the street, right?
No, I can't.
Cruise it, right?
Just cruise it. I bought it from a woman as an artist in Austin. She was only the second owner, so I'm the third owner of this truck. This is the old seat, the original seat, but when he took the old cover off, there was a letter that the original owner had put inside the seat, basically who they were, when they bought it, how long they kept it. Older vehicles that they tell stories, right? This type of vehicle is what I learned to drive on. My grandfather owned a feed and seed store. This is what he had at that time, Weatherford, Oklahoma. At the end of the day, he'd have me load up like sacks of feed or a lawnmower that they repaired or something like that. And he would flip me the keys. He would get in the passenger seat. Underneath the seat, he had a little toolbox. In that toolbox, he had his cigarettes. Behind the seats, he had a 6-pack of Coors beer. As I learned how to drive, and he rode, and we'd go deliver stuff. And he did that because my grandmother, she didn't allow cigarettes. She didn't allow no beer in the house. There was no power steering, so it was all manual steering, all manual brakes. So you could imagine at 13 years old, they had these big giant steering wheels and trying to maneuver that thing on dirt roads and everything like that. Ironically, this one actually came out of Oklahoma. Didn't do anything to the outside, right? This is still original paint, which is crazy. We changed the heartbeat of it a little bit. This is
put some new lungs, some new organs in it.
Yeah, so it went from.
Something tells me this is not original motor.
No, it's not the original motor. A Gen 3 Coyote engine.
God, it fit like a glove.
It did. Back then they were just farm trucks, right? And they didn't need to go fast. So what we did is we changed the chassis, added a little more maneuverability, and had to be the white walls. Period correct. It was all hand built by a company here in Gilbert, Arizona. I seen an advertisement in a magazine, a car magazine for Fat Fender Garage. Didn't know anything about it. I started kind of researching all of it, and they specialize in Fords. And I thought, well, how am I ever going to get this thing out to Arizona? When I got let go with Texas, back with Pittsburgh, then all of a sudden this opportunity, and Tori called me and said, hey, I need your help. And I thought, I can go to Arizona, I can bring my truck.
It all worked out.
Yeah, it all worked out. Oh, this is not my gas. Gas tanks that they put in these things are so small that we put a bigger gas tank underneath, and so that's where you put that all your money into it, right?
When you got it done, yeah. You saw it for the first time, you're going to take it home. What thoughts went through your head, Coach?
It was emotional, still emotional. It was never a project for me to show off. We had the two labs, and the youngest one, which we lost 2 days before I got this. He never left my side ever from the time we got him till, he passed away. He loved to get in this truck. I guess he felt like he was the king of the world.
So you thought of your grandpa, dad?
Yeah, and Scout. Well, I know my grandfather he'd bust my chops a little bit for the amount of money I put in this thing. He would be proud. My grandfather was one of the ones that really got me turned on to baseball. He asked me one time, why do I play the game? I said, I love the game. He said, well, the game can't love you back. Just think about this. Play the game so that your fans are proud of how you played in a win. And in a loss, play so that they have hope for tomorrow. And so I've never lost that. I try to instill that in our guys. This reminds me every day when I walk out and I get in it and I head to the ballpark. And I love the trip in, I love the trip home, because it's the trip in, you go from being, husband, father, to a coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And when I come home, I go from being a coach of the Arizona Diamondbacks back to being a husband and father. And this helps me do that.
I cannot relate to Jeff Bannister. He has really fond memories of the car he, learned to drive in. I have horror memories of the car I learned to drive in.
Time for sports with Jake Garcia. And Jake, I don't really understand, what does Alyssa Thomas want from the league?
For the league to show that it supports her. But I think in turn the league wants for her to show some remorse about the suspension.
Yeah.
I don't know. The two are at odds today. Something that started physical has now turned into a war of words. Alyssa Thomas calls out the WNBA. WNBA responds with a statement of its own. The league says it condemns any and all forms of hate. It's been in contact with the Mercury and is committed to protecting all their players. But Thomas said hours before that she doesn't feel like the league does care about her safety. She said she got death threats because of this play on Caitlin Clark. Thomas was suspended for a game and said the hit to Clark's neck was an accident. She slammed the WNBA for its lack of communication about the suspension and lack of support in the aftermath.
A lot of us, myself included, didn't even know the play took place until after, the game. And, now we're being painted as thugs and there's death threats out on us. So it's really unacceptable. It's something that needs to change in this league. And I'm just really sick and tired of it. As usual, she remains silent. And that's unfortunate when, our lives are being threatened.
She being WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. Suns, meanwhile, are making some moves this offseason. ESPN reporting that the Suns are acquiring Miles Bridges from the Charlotte Hornets. That's in exchange for Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal. Bridges was a first-round pick back in 2018, spent his entire 7-year career with the Hornets, played in 77 games this past season, averaged around 17 points, 6 boards, and 3 assists. Here are the exact details of the deal, what we know now. In addition to Bridges, the Suns are getting a 2029 first-round pick and a 2027 second-round pick. 2033, meanwhile, first-round pick also goes to Charlotte, along with Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal. Lena, what's your initial reaction to to this deal from a basketball perspective, because the Suns give up 2 shooters.
Yeah.
They address a position of need, but also sacrifice 2 guys who can shoot it from deep.
Exactly. I think the depth and the rotation being lost in those guys in Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal. Granted, Grayson was dealing with injuries at several times this season, but those are 2 veteran presences on the court in the second unit that could really help this team kind of find its rhythm and its groove at some points under Jordan Ott this year. And just from a culture standpoint, I think that is what's confusing given Miles Bridges' history of domestic violence. We've heard Brian Gregory talk about culture, Matt Ishbia talk about culture, high character guys. I don't know if Miles Bridges fits that mold based on what we know and what's been reported in his personal and legal battles. But we'll see how it all plays out. Maybe this is something that Brian Gregory is able to find a kind of diamond in the rough, if you will say, and make it work with Jordan Ott's system. But it is interesting to see the pieces that were sent off in exchange for this piece.
And just to be clear, referencing the domestic violence incidents that have kind of defined Miles Bridges off the court, there were discharge papers released from the emergency department. His wife at the time posted these details on social media: assault by strangulation, a concussion, closed fracture of the nasal bone, contusion of the rib, multiple bruises, and a strain of the neck muscle. And I think it's important to note that this wasn't a one-off incident, and that's obviously an extreme thing to kind of just list off right there. It was just the start of a pattern of problematic behavior. He was accused of violating the protective order more than once, also charged with child abuse. So I think there are a lot of Suns fans today who are displeased about this, leaving the basketball element to the side for now, but getting to the point that you spoke on of, management and ownership's insistence that they're bringing in high character guys. We will see if this fits from a basketball standpoint, but this certainly does not fit from what they have told the media from a culture standpoint.
Absolutely. Again, another scoring option. I don't know if scoring options is something that this team needed necessarily, but we'll see how it all shakes out. A lot of Suns fans chiming in, though, on social media about this move. Mr. Arizona is now a Phoenix Sun. Gilbert's own Koa Peat will wear number 18 for his hometown NBA team. Suns general manager Brian Gregory swung a draft night trade to move up and take the Perry High School product with the 30th pick in the first round. That's Pete's a 4-time state champion. He's a 3-time Gatorade Player of the Year. He's helped U of A to the men's Final Four as a freshman. His pro career now begins in his own backyard, and his family's been enjoying every moment of the journey.
I'd like to introduce, from Perry High School, University of Arizona, the newest member of the Phoenix Suns, Koa Peat.
Being from Arizona, it's always been a dream of mine to, play for the Phoenix Suns, and to be here now and to get drafted by the Suns. I'm super blessed and fortunate for the opportunity, and I'm going to work hard. And obviously, as a competitor, you've seen other guys, you think you're better than getting drafted ahead of you. And for me, I think the fit and situation is better than the pick.
But his work ethic, his character, his ability and desire to continue to improve and not be satisfied with where he's at and to be coachable and put in the time, all those things are so important for where we're at and where we want to get to. It just solidified the fact that if we can make the moves to get him here, we were going to figure out a way to do it.
Coming in as a rookie, trying to, find my role, trying to, be an energy guy, trying to make the best player better and, make the coach trust me and like me are my main 2 goals.
2 key areas for us, our defensive pressure and our offensive rebounding. And it's an area that he's really good at right now and only going to get better at. And when you look at the guys that we have in our organization and the guys that we've drafted over the last couple of years or brought in, he's going to fit right in. You know what I mean? And I think that's very, very important. And he's going to be challenged every day.
And I think that's what I learned most about myself is, how much I can impact the game away from scoring when I was at Arizona playing with, a great team like that. Using my size and athleticism, go get those putback dunks or getting us extra possessions, blocking shots, and, just trying to be a pest on defense. That's something, I take pride in. Ever since a young kid, I've always been trying to get to the rim. My parents have always told me not to settle when I get on the court.
I'm in shock still. I can't believe it. Like, all of Koa's dreams are coming true, and then to come true at home. So he can have all the family support, all the siblings can be at all the home games. It's just absolutely mind-blowing.
And what's mind-blowing, Jake, is we were talking about this young man making his commitment to Arizona last year. Yeah. 2 years ago, I was talking to him at his basketball camp, and he was telling me how he was changing his body, committing to his diet. to take his game to the next level. Then he won, gold medal with FIBA. He became the men's USA Men's Athlete of the Year. I mean, just to see his development and the way that he stayed the course and stayed true to his home state, his hometown, and to see it come to full circle like this is just amazing.
Yeah, the way he's transformed his body in just, a little over a year has been incredible, because those high school shots of him at Perry, he is tall, he is skinny.
And that wasn't long ago.
Yeah, and then he gets in a D1, training program, diet, regimen, weightlifting, all of that. And suddenly, I mean, he becomes a certified NBA body.
Yes.
There's no doubt that he is physical enough to play in the NBA. The reason why he dropped in the draft is because a lot of teams have concerns about his jump shot.
Sure.
And look, teaching someone how to shoot a basketball is not an easy thing. Case in point, Ryan Dunn came in with those same question marks, and the Suns have not been able to develop him in that area as much as they would like. With that being said, we can see how hard Koa Peat has worked to bulk up, transform his body. If he works that hard at his jump shot, I'm not saying that it's impossible.
Yeah.
So I know the Suns got, one of their high character people in Koa Peat. We will see if, the jump shot evolves. I do know he's going to bring the energy, the intensity to the glass, and that's definitely something they need.
Yeah, and it's cool to see him and Oso Ighodaro as the local kids playing in their own backyard as
No
pros.
doubt.
Very special.
And that'll do it for us. Thank you so much for watching 12 Sports tonight on the 12 News free 24/7 streaming app. I'm Cameron Cox. We'll see you back here Sunday night for the best sports coverage in town. Here's the lineup. Arizona's #1 sports show, 12 Sports Locker Room, right after Sunday Night Baseball, right here on NBC. And then, of course, 12 Sports tonight at 10:30. Good night. God bless.